Fit like YouTube, welcome back to another episode. Okay, so I've got two jobs to do. They're not my favourite jobs, they're not exciting jobs, but they're jobs that have to be done in order to keep things running smoothly. One of them is I've got to change the carbon. Now, I use Red Sea carbon and I run this for usually about 6 to 7 weeks. I'll let it go for. So the other thing is filter socks. Now, I'm quite happy changing my filter socks as and when they're needed. However, this filter sock that I'm just putting back in the new, that's my last clean one. And yep, that's the other job I do about every 7 weeks, which I don't really like doing. But yeah, it's got to be done. So I've got 24 of these socks to wash. I've got all different micron settings and stuff like that. So that's the filter sock done. Just got to clean the protein skimmer and get the carbon changed. Right, that's the skimmer cup all clean. So I'll get this back in place, switch everything back on, get the system running and switch on the skimmer. Now, the skimmer's probably going to go mental because I've had it off for about 6-7 hours at night time. I've switched it off. I was feeding the tank some amino acids and stuff, and I switched it off. And because my nutrients are so low, I've been switching it off for around about 6-7 hours every night, just to help try and get the nutrients up a wee bit. So I suspect once I switch this skimmer back on, it's going to go crazy. Okay, here we go, wait for it. Yep, I knew it. There she blows. Yeah, it's just going to keep going, fill right up. It's got this thing where it gets to a certain bit and then it kind of stops itself. But if you don't deal with it, it can still make quite a mess. So it's like part of a safety feature that it's got, but it's not as good as it makes it as, you know what I mean. Now I've had this skimmer for 2 or 3 years, and it is good. It is a good skimmer. And it is kind of like you just stick it in your sump, switch it on, and you just leave it, and it calibrates itself and sorts itself out. Now that is a good, but it's also quite bad as well, because you kind of fine tune your skimmate to get like a really dark, thick skimmate. You've just got to kind of go with whatever it is, Ken. So it's quite annoying. So we'll just turn the air down a wee bit, and then that'll just give it time to settle down and start working as normal. But I'll probably do a review on this skimmer at some point, let you guys know my honest opinion on it. Alrighty, time for the new carbon. So I just threw out the old stuff, gave this cylinder a quick clean, sponges a quick clean, and just ready to fill it up with the new stuff. So obviously first thing, shot glass over the tube, because you don't want your carbon to go down there. And then just use this funnel and we'll just fill it up. Now I didn't put a lot of carbon into it. I usually just run about, I kind of eyeball it, but it's roughly about 100 to 150 grams. It's near an awful lot. Don't really need a lot of this stuff. It works really well, and it's a wee bit more expensive than the cheaper carbons, but I think it works way better, and it's just nicer to work with because I've used the cheaper stuff as well, and I've noticed it runs out way quicker, needs replacing far more often, and like I say, this is one of the jobs that I like doing, so the longer I can put this off, the better for me. So using this Red Sea carbon is just spot on. The other thing I like about it is I just add some fresh salt water, and I didn't even rinse it. This stuff's really clean. Again, for carbon, like, you use the cheaper stuff, you've got to rinse it and rinse it and rinse it. It's just a nightmare. So the likes of this here, I'll fill up this, and then I'll just let it all settle down. All the dusty particles kind of float to the top, and I'll just pour that top layer off down the sink. The rest of it, once the air gets through it, it'll all sink, and the water's pretty clear. And then when I put it back onto the dead man's chest, I start running it. I just run the end of the hose through a small filter sock, and that catches any particulates that's coming back out of it. And I leave that just for an hour or so, and then I just ditch that filter sock and just let it run as normal, and that's it, job done. So just giving a wee shake, trying to get all the bigger bits to sink back down, and all the really dusty fine stuff tends to just stay on the surface, and that's what I just pour down the sink before I stick it onto back to the display. Okay, so just going to stick it back on. Now, one thing with this reactor, it was pretty cheap, and you've got to make sure that there's no bits of carbon or nothing in the threads and nothing, because when you're turning and tightening this, if you hear a crunch, don't even bother carrying on, just undo it, because you'll just end up with a leak. So I've gave it a good brush around the threads, so hopefully we'll get this on straight away. But I've lost track of the amount of times I've tried to screw it on. I've heard at the very last minute, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake, there's a bit of carbon. And then you have to take it all off again and clean it again. It's such a nightmare, like. But this time it's looking good, looking good. Get that on nice and tight. Really tight, because I've got it hanging over the edge. And the last thing I want is a blooming leak. I'd be far happier if it was actually inside my sump. I'd have more peace of mind, but as it is, this is all I've got to work with. And I must admit, in hindsight, when I got rid of the black pearl and I was getting another tank, although this tank's been perfect and it suits my lifestyle, everything spot on, I just wish maybe I did get the 1200 so that I would have had a wee bit of more room underneath, sump wise on him, because under here it is really cramped. Like, it's like I'm trying to squeeze £10 of doo-doo in a £2 bag, you know. But we're making it work, we're making it work. Right, so that's our switched on. Got the end of the hose into the filter sock here. So like I say, I just let this run. And I didn't hear a really fast, I mean, some folk hear their carbon tumbling away mental like, but I didn't. I just hear it running really pretty slow. And it's kind of like, a bit like if you run your row of foss, you know how you just hear the top layer just tumbling. That's what I kind of like my carbon to do. I don't like it going too quick. I think it just ends up banging into one another and it just crumbles away and you just end up with dust. And before you can, you're having to replace it. And this Red Sea is really fine, as you can see here. But that's about the flow that I like. Now then, here's the job. Flipping love to hate, but luckily I only have to do it once every 7 weeks, so it's not so bad. So here's all my dirty filter socks for the last 7 weeks, and I mean, it's not bad really. I use about, it depends on how dirty the tank is, what maintenance I'm doing, but generally I usually go through anything between three socks a week. Sometimes it'll be 4, sometimes it'll be 2. It just kind of depends on what I've been doing, if I've been pottering about with the tank or anything like that. But generally it's usually around about the 2 to 3 mark is the norm. Right, that's them all loaded. So now I'll just switch on the machine. So first thing I do is I'll set it to the hottest setting, which is 90 degrees and I'll just run this for the 2 hours and 49 minutes. And this just gets rid of all the crap, because when I take a dirty sock off, I just take it and hang it out in the washing line, and it just dries out. I don't bother with rinsing them out straight away and blasting them and all that stuff, because to be honest with you, I can't be bothered doing that. So I just hang them up and get them out on the line, out the road. Once they're dried out, I then stick them into a black bag, and then I just leave the black bag in the shed, take it in when it's time for washing. So this is the first process. Right, that's that done. So as you can see, all the filter socks are pretty much nicely cleaned out. Now I could just leave it with this, but I forgot these 2 socks here, so I'm going to stick them in as well. Now what I do now is I just do the same thing again, back up to 90 degrees for the 2 hours and 49 minutes. And my wife absolutely hates me doing this, but hey ho, she's only going to put up with it once in a while. And then this time I stick on this thin bleach, so it's just really cheap thin bleach, no fragrances or nothing like that, just thin basic bleach. So just pour a good glug of this in, and then I just switch on the machine and do the same thing again. Now you could argue and just say, well, why not just bother do that the first time round? And I could do, but I don't know, I just prefer giving them a good rinse out first and then giving them a blast with this, and it just seems to get them really nice and super clean. I have done it before. I mean, you'll never get them like brand new, but I think doing it this way, it's just spot on. So next what I'll do is I just go and hang these out in the line, just let them all air dry, make sure they're perfectly dry, and then it's just back into a bag, ready for me to use as and when I'm needing them, back in the shed. So that's it, another job done, thank God. Won't have to do this again for a good while. Okay, before we end this episode, just a really quick update on the clownfish. So they're loving the tent. They're not really eating. Now this is getting me a wee bit concerned. They're only picking the odd bit of mysis and the odd pellet. It's nothing like what they were normally eating. So a wee bit concerned about that. So I'm going to see how it goes over the next few days. If it doesn't improve, I think I'm going to be forced to put them back, and I'm just going to leave one tile on the back glass, and hopefully with them going back in, it's already there. Who knows, they might not be bothered by it. But yeah, I just don't think this is working, because I don't know what's going through their heads. Like it's some kind of, right, that's it, we're going on a hunger strike. But one thing's for sure, love is definitely not on the air just now. They're just hiding that wee tent thing all the time and don't do nothing. So, but maybe I've just got to be patient. I put a wee pump in just to add a wee bit more flow to help the food go round and stuff like that, and added these wee flaps, so ready to go if they do have fry. But yep, that's pretty much it for this episode. So thank you for watching. Till the next one, bye bye.